Hi, and welcome to Monday Nights with Dannie Stewart. I am your host, Dannie Stewart, and tonight, well, first off, let's talk about the preview. In the preview, talked about one of those kind of get to know you subjects that you do with like your best friends or, just a group of people. You talk about your first time you kissed a guy and then the first time that you had sex. So that was really funny and really interesting. So yeah, that was just a little get to know me. And just right now, being that this is the first episode of Monday Nights with Dannie Stewart, um, I am a Florida A&M University student. Next summer, I'll be graduating with my bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in pre-law. I do plan on going into a law career, obviously, and my ultimate goal is to be a Supreme Court justice. So I have a long way to go, as you all can tell. You just don't become Supreme Court justice overnight. So have a long way to go, but I'm really, really excited about it. More than likely, I'll end up in Washington, D.C., because I would like to go to Howard University, Howard Law School. So yeah, I might be in Washington, D.C. within the next 2 or 3 years. So look out for me, D.C. I'm coming. But anyway, tonight we'll be discussing a couple of things. One of the main things is unity within the community. And we'll also be discussing just little sweet ways to keep your sweetheart happy. Love is in the air. I keep seeing all these different posts about people getting married and new boyfriends, new girlfriends, all that type of stuff, engagements all over the freaking place. So just different ways to keep their sweetheart happy. And also a really interesting article that I read, because I think a lot. And so it was an interesting article I kind of stumbled upon about those eureka moments that you have while you're in the bathroom. So we'll get into that a little bit later, because that could be different things for different people. So first thing, unity within the community. What am I saying by this? It's kind of straightforward, but I'll break it down anyway. As our community is very interesting and intricate in itself, there are different ways that you can define yourself within the gay community. There are different labels that we use. And I'm not even certain if those labels originate from actual gay people or if it's something that originated from outside sources. But be that as it may, they are a part of our community and we use them every single day. From queen to punk, femme, butch bunny, masculine, trade, all those different, just all those crazy words that we use to describe ourselves and each other. That is what I'm talking about. And the reason why I put so much emphasis on this, which is going to lead me into the next topic, so just, follow me, if you will. The reason why I put so much emphasis on this is because it causes a lot of division between our community. And I read a post earlier today on Facebook where one of my friends, I don't know if he found it and shared or if it was something that just kind of popped in his head, but no, actually it was a shared post. It said, why is it that gays focus so much on being the top or bottom? What's wrong with, as soon as somebody finds out, oh, you're supposed to be a top, but somebody topped you. Oh, girl, that's somebody's bottom. The first thing they say is, oh, that's somebody's bottom. Oh, she's somebody's bottom. She ain't no top. And you go from being a he that everybody's drooling all over because you're a top and, you can identify with the most masculine ways. And so you're seen as a boy, as what a lot of people would say. And when someone finds out that, because whatever your sexual preferences are, you decided, okay, well, I wanted the bottom tonight for this person. Or you may be in a relationship. And in that relationship, you may feel comfortable enough with that person to bottom for them. Then it becomes an issue or it's a problem. And the community is just like, oh, that's that girl. That's just somebody's bottom. Then you have guys that bottom that, they may be feeling it one night and then they just, and they end up topping someone. And then it's like, oh, that's a confused bottom. Like, what? It just kind of, we get ourselves into this mode of either you're top or you're bottom. And then there's just a complete prejudice against versatile people altogether. It's just like, oh no, that's forbidden almost when you talk amongst a certain group of people. So the reason I bring this up is for a couple reasons. And we're going to go into the next topic. But I want to point out one thing. We don't want to be classified and this is just something that I hear from a lot of different people when I talk amongst them. We hate the straight world because a lot of us are feminists and we don't want the straight world to apply to us. It's the first thing, because most of us are gay men, or for some of us who are gay women or lesbian, whichever one they want to identify with, we don't want the straight world to put their constraints on us because we identify something different from them as far as our preference for sex. But the contradiction is, especially in the gay community amongst men, as soon as you step outside of the bounds of what's considered normal for identifying as sex, be it top or bottom, and you go into that versatile mode to where, okay, yeah, I've topped a little bit, or yeah, I may have bottomed here and there, then it's like, oh my gosh, no, I can't talk to you. I just want a strict top, or I just want a strict bottom. It's like, for what? Why? For some people, it's boring. Some people, that's the life that they want to live. Okay, cool. I'm not here to knock anybody's preference, okay? Get it in the best way that you can, the best way you know how. But don't discriminate against the next person because the way that they decide to get it in is different from you. Because they ain't hating on you. And then on top of that, it also kind of leads me to point out, you never know where love may be coming from. And you never know who you may find your true person in. And like, if someone asks me, what's your type? I have an ideal type, but when it comes down to dating, I don't have a type, because you never know where you find interest in people. And if you look at any of my exes, which I probably will never line them all up ever in my life, but the guys that I talk to have different characteristics across the board. I've dated light-skinned guys, dark-skinned guys, bald head, low cut, dreadhead, tattoos. I've had a couple, but it doesn't, there's no consistency really, not with their physical appearance. But when it comes down to their personality, most of them have the same characteristics. They like to talk, they're very affectionate, different things. And so you never know what you may find in a person. And especially when you're going by the community and the things that they have to say about people, it's kind of hard to pick who you want to date, especially if you're living for the community. But anyway, I digress from that because that's a subject for a whole other day. Anyway, back to it. We don't want to put those constraints of the straight world on ourselves, because if you go back in time with me to about 1900s, the early 1900s, Black people were still fighting for civil rights, something we didn't have. We had a couple of some breakthroughs where, okay, we have Black people going to white universities and things like that, but they're still in a subjective type of manner. And then the closer you get to 1908, and then 1913, and then 1920, and you start seeing some changes around that time period where not only are Black people fighting for their rights, but women are fighting for rights too. Because during that time, women were also subjected to not being able to vote and not being able to have the same power that a man had, and majority white men had. So you don't want to put us as some people may even say a subgroup, but a community into the same course of history as the mainstream American society. Whereas masculine men just have all the power, and oh my gosh, they're just ooh, and everybody's drooling all over them. And they're looking down on the feminine guy over here who likes to play in makeup and may wear hair weaves, and they identify themselves and express themselves in a different way. That's not cool. Because at the end of the day, we're all a part of the same community, and we all need to stick together. And you don't vibe with everybody. I ain't even finna say we all need to be friends and love each other. That's just not gonna happen. but we all need to make sure that we have each other's best interest at heart when it really comes to certain things, which brings me to the next topic. There are about, I think, 13, 14 states in the United States that have passed anti-LGBT laws that have been put into effect, whether some people know it or not. Some of them are the Religious Freedom Restoration Acts. Some of them are marriage-related religious exemption laws. And then we have the bathroom bills. Some of them are in laws now. And the God doesn't want gay people to raise children laws. And then you just have some other erroneous laws that discriminate against gay people for whatever reason that these people are coming up with. And I bring that up because we have to fight these laws, and we have to fight legislation and legislators that would advocate for these laws to be written into, or even more laws to be written into legislation that will actively have an effect on us. There are 7 states with religious freedom restorative acts, which they're saying that because the Supreme Court, and this is in my interpretation of it, you are free to go and read this, by the way. I'm reading a Huffington Post article right now, and I looked up a couple of other ones on some other ones, but this is the one that has just all of the different breakdowns of these laws. And so the Huffington Post says that the Religious Freedom Restorative Acts are laws that restore religious preferences to leaders or men and women who are in some type of power to provide some type of service to the LGBT community for whatever it is. So be it a bakery or any type of facility that is privately owned, I believe is how yes, a bakery or anything, and they have Christian values. So like the whole Chick-fil-A thing, where, and I'm not even sure if these signs are being photoshopped or not. Maybe they're not, depending on the state. But the whole Chick-fil-A thing, because they do, and even Publix, because they do have Christian values, and the companies were founded with Christian beliefs. They're not open on Sundays. Easter, they are closed. Good Friday, more than likely they're closed, so they're closed early. You know, different holidays, they're just outright closed. There's no way they're going to be open, none of that, because the religion that they identify, well, the religion that their founding presidents or whomever identified with held values close to celebrating and, these different holidays. So you have some bakeries or photographers or whomever, if they feel that their beliefs are being infringed upon, their religious beliefs are being infringed upon by providing a service to a same-sex wedding or a same-sex gala or something like that, they have the right to refuse service, which in turn loses money for them. So it's kind of like their loss, but at the same time, there shouldn't be any type of, or like if you go to a company, for example, and you have a photographer company who you say, hey, I need a couple of photographers to cover this event. And they say, okay, we'll assign these people to you. And the day of the event, only one person shows up, and you definitely need about 3 or 4. And that's not the contract that you sign. Those people are allowed to refuse you service because of their religious beliefs. So they should not be allowed to do that. So there are 7 states where these acts are actually active right now. 1 is Colorado, 2 is Hawaii, 3 is Iowa, 4 is Michigan, 5 is Mississippi, 6 is North Carolina, and 7 is Oklahoma. So in those 7 states, as of I believe this was written on in April. So in earlier part of April, those 7 states have these types of acts that are in effect, like right now. And then you have First Amendment defense for the marriage-related religious exemption laws. So this, some of them have the First Amendment Defense Act, and then others have Pastor Protection Acts. government official using taxpayer funds against these bills. So all of these different acts, they have some type of different background for them. The most interesting one to me would be the government officials who are paid by the taxpayers, and they are using the taxpayers' dollars to push bills through, but men and women of the LGBTQ community are taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer in Florida. I know several people in several other states, including Mississippi and South Carolina, who identify themselves as LGBTQ, and they pay taxes, and yet their states have bills that are passed that discriminate against them. So you have a lot going on out here. And then the bathroom bills. 9 states have active bathroom bills. Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Minnesota, Missouri, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Tennessee. So all of them have bathroom bills, which discriminate against those members of the transgender community that would rather use a restroom that they can identify with the sex that they want to identify with, rather than the one that they were born with. So these states have these bills that are, saying, hey, no, you can't use this bathroom. And some of them are using the sexual predator thing. And others are just saying, oh, no, it's too confusing for the children. We don't want them to grow up thinking, this is okay, or whatever the case may be. So you have those very interesting rationales behind it. Then you have the God doesn't want gays to raise children, and 3 states have pending bills. So in April 14th, Alabama, Nebraska, and Oklahoma had pending bills to stop LGBTQ men and women from adopting and raising children, which is really sad to me, because and it's one of those memes that's flying around, and I know you all have seen them. If I've seen them, I know y'all seen them too, where you have the same-sex couple, and it says, if God doesn't want gay people to raise children, tell straight people to stop putting them out, or to stop abandoning them, or something to that effect. And it is kind of true. And then you also have some same-sex couples who have a more loving environment as far as their home, and a more stable home than some of the heterosexual couples that go out and make children or adopt children, because every heterosexual couple can't have children. So it's really interesting to see, some of these rationales for pushing these bills through. And the worst part about it is, and which is why I'm really promoting unity within the community, that some of these bills were passed within 24 hours. You all heard me right. 24 hours. So if they woke up on a Monday at 6 o'clock and they said, okay, we're going to write this bill. This bill's already been written out, and we emailed it to all y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and rush it through. Because we don't want anybody to have any time to know what's going on. We don't want any lobbyists to come in and say, hey, we don't like this. No protest, no nothing. And even blindsiding some of the people that they know will be against these bills, some of the representatives that will be against these bills, they just blindside them. So 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, everybody that's going to vote for it come in. They know they're ready to vote. And so they get in there, they get the session started, go through the, pomp and circumstance of opening the floor, and then bam, they throw it on out there. Everybody vote. They limit the discussion, all of that stuff. And then they move it on up. And see, in Florida, it goes from the House of Representatives to the Senate, and then from the Florida State Senate to the governor, and the governor signs it in if it passes both the House and the Senate. No veto, no nothing. So you can't tell me that was not some type of backdoor dealings or something like that pushed all of these things through that fast. They needed no revisions. They needed no amending. None of that. No time to wait. None of that. So Monday morning, 6 o'clock, and by close of business, the governor's already signed it. And tomorrow, it's a new law that everybody has to adhere to. As aggravating as it was for people to be driving in, the left-hand lane, and they holding up the left-hand lane here in Florida while we on I-10, I-95, whichever one it was, or I-4, for those that's in Orlando, Tampa area, down the turnpike, whichever one, where you had a two lanes on either side. So it's a four-lane expressway. and you got two lanes. One is the riding lane, and the other one is the passing lane. As annoying as it was for people to sit in those lanes and ride below the speed limit or right at the speed limit when you're trying to get to where you got to go. And when they passed the law that you had to move over, what they're calling the move over law, they passed it in March. It didn't go in effect until June. And not saying that Florida has any of discrimination laws, because we don't. But just poking fun. Florida doesn't have any of those discrimination laws. There was some that were trying to be passed, but they got shot down in the House, and one died in committee, so it didn't even make it to the House floor. But back to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, usually there's a grace period so that it can be announced to the people and say, hey, this is going to be a new law. You might want to get up on it. Hey, where, the governor signed this, blase squaze. So you can't tell me that there wasn't any backdoor premeditation. There was something going on. And I don't know about y'all, but it just sounded a little fishy to me. But anyway, that's why I'm promoting unity in the community, because the community outside of ours, that society that we live in, that some of us are trying to replicate and some people are living to please, does not have our best interests at heart. We are people just like they are. And at the end of the day, we live, sleep, work, eat, and breathe the same way that they do. We're all trying to make it for ourselves and for our family, hopefully. So what I'm saying is, everyone, drop the labels. Let's not make a big emphasis on what makes us different. Everybody is different. We're all different shades of color, hair texture, different ways that we decide to identify ourselves, from different things that we do, from clubbing to hiking, all of that crazy stuff. There are a lot of things that make us different, but there are a lot of things that also make us that we have in common. And in the eyes of some people, all of us are all the same, no matter what it is, no matter how we identify ourselves. And like I said, there are some things about our culture that, and when I say our culture, I mean the gay culture. There are a lot of things about gay world that most people never understand because they have not walked in our shoes. Case in point, a few days ago, it may even yesterday, was a campaign that I saw for ending homelessness amongst gay teens, which is so great. We need a lot of activism like that, whereas we can get out into the streets or we can get into communities and say, hey, you know what, there's this place for you to go. Because as you can see, there may be a parent who had a bad experience with, a gay person in their former years, whatever the case may be. And so in some ways, we're all seen as the same, no matter what it is that makes us different. We're all seen as the same in the eyes of a lot of people. And most of those people are the people that are put into power to create laws that we have to live by in this society. So let's stand together. We need more unity within the community. We need more ways that we all can come together in a peaceful manner and discuss some things, some policies and ways of action to get some things in place and make sure that we don't have to keep fighting these laws and we don't end up back in the civil rights movement, but instead it's all about the gays this time. It's not about blacks, it's not about women, now it's all about the gays. We don't want to be that new group of people that everybody gets to pick on. No, we're not trying to go there. So anyway, enough of my soapbox and, all that, hoopla and all that other stuff. Okay, let's get to some fun stuff. So there's another article I was reading about ways we're moving on to the fun, cute stuff with everybody springing up in relationships. Spring is that time of renewal. Winter time was cold for a lot of us, and some of us had an extended winter. And so now it's starting to warm up and it's getting hot. And as you can see, I have my tank top on from today because it was 90-something degrees here in Tallahassee, Florida. So it's hot outside. We trying to show off our bodies, and people are popping up in relationships left and right. I got a new boo. Me and Beta worked it out. We're getting married. All of that. So it's just so much greatness going on as far as love. Love is in the air. It's in the air, it's in the water, it's in the food, it's in everything. So with that being said, I was reading an article on 25 ways to keep that spice, or, to say I love you. 25 ways to say I love you. And there are different ways that different people are saying. And so the first one was really, really cute. I liked it. It said third time is the charm. So this couple, every time they kiss 3 times. And each time represents I, love, and you. And then she also says that her husband, when he backs out of the driveway, she stands at the door and she watches him flash his emergency lights 3 times to say, I love you, as he's leaving. And then you have the Iron Man. The husband irons the clothes of his wife or significant other, skirts, blouses, whatever it is that she may be wearing the next day. So, getting up and ironing, and that's just one of those small things, saying I love you, you can say it in so many different ways. And so ironing is one of those things that I don't like to do. I really don't. I don't like folding clothes. I really don't like folding clothes. I enjoy washing them though, but folding them after the fact, no. I don't like packing clothes. I don't like cleaning up clothes. So at any given rate, if you pop up at my apartment, more than likely it's going to be clothes everywhere from where I just probably went and did laundry 3-4 weeks ago. And I just left it all. And I go through it daily to find something to wear, but I just don't like putting up clothes. I don't like ironing. As a child, I burnt my knee when the iron fell on my knee. And from then on, it's just ironing's not my thing. I'd rather have a steamer for my clothes, or when they come out of the dryer, slap them on a hanger, put them in the closet so they're ready to wear. I don't believe in ironing. I really don't. I know how to. I just prefer not to. So someone to iron my clothes would be very, very helpful for me. And I swear, I'll just be like, oh my gosh, that's bae. That's it, bae. That's bae. Iron my clothes. That's bae. I'm just saying. So Iron Man, that's definitely one for me. Writing a card in the cards. So you just leave something. You know how they do it on the in the commercials that they have, where they have a little suite or something like that in the hotel. Leave a card on the pillow, or in the car, or on the counter next to the keys, or when they come home, left on the door. Little special ways you can leave your card, and it just has a nice handwritten note, or something really sweet by Hallmark or or Mahogany, one of those companies that writes really cute things in cards, and something sweet, a personalized note or something like that, just to say, I love you. You mean the world to me. Breakfast in bed. Classic, and it never, never, ever, ever fails. Breakfast in bed. And not only breakfast in bed, but cleaning up after the fact. And this is just me summarizing some of these things. So, you can go and you can read it for yourself, but this is me summarizing. Breakfast in bed is such a classic. I mean, who wouldn't want to wake up to those wonderful? For me, waking up to breakfast is going back into childhood, because my room in my grandmother's house was right off from the kitchen. So every morning, Saturday mornings, when she woke up, and she was in there cooking breakfast, I smelled everything. I heard every pot clang. But I knew when I got up, I had at least 3 pancakes waiting on me. And not small silver dollar size that you get from IHOP. No, these were like pancakes the size of a plate. Grandma, she country. So big fluffy pancakes, butter grits, full of butter, full of butter, biscuits. Usually homemade. When she didn't feel like it, then we have the Pillsbury biscuits, but usually homemade biscuits, bacon, sausage, eggs, toast, the works. Orange juice, apple juice, whatever kind of juice I wanted. And I'm a big orange juice person, as some of y'all can see from one of my live feeds. So orange juice or whatever juice was waiting on me. So definitely breakfast in bed, that's, one of those things that for me, it would send me back to childhood, waking up every Saturday morning after school for the whole week or whatever, and knowing grandma got up and made me breakfast. She did that for her babies, me and my brother. She all made us breakfast. So breakfast in bed, and then cleaning up after the fact. So make sure that when you do make breakfast, you don't leave a big mess in the kitchen, like you're already cleaning up, or you already have cleaned up everything and breakfast is just being brought in. You can sit and you can talk about, whatever you're going to do for that day, or maybe it's just something that you're doing to, hey babe, I was thinking about you, I already cleaned up the kitchen, so just enjoy your breakfast. I'll be back home after work, or whatever it is that you're doing. The kiss. We're blowing kisses to each other. Oh, that's really, really sweet. So you just blow kisses from upstairs or from another room or when y'all not next to each other, something like that. So just peep in the room. Hey, babe. Something like that. And then you just walk back out of the room. It's just, some people don't get into something like that, but it's cute. It's a nice way of showing affection. It can mean different things for different people. So that's cute. Speaking in code, we all have code. Everybody got a code. Me and my best friends have one. A lot of me, like really a lot of my best friends, we have our own personal codes and we have to explain it to everybody else when we're all together. So speaking in code, be it that special night that just meant everything to you, y'all's first date, or just something that you do. Like I have nicknames for some of my best friends. Like one, she's my mistress. My best friend is my mistress because everybody claims that I'm always talking to her. So I'd be like, oh, I'm just on the phone with my mistress. Or like my grandma. My grandma's nickname from me is Big Boss. She's not a big lady or anything like that, but she's my big boss. Like when she say do something, and usually she doesn't say it, she asks me to do something, I do it because that's the boss lady, Big Boss. So, some of those little things, you can run a whole conversation in front of people talking about each other, and you never know. Like, one of my favorite things to do is role play. So, some of the guys that I talk to, they'll say, oh, you looking cute today. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, my boo think I do too. And they be like, oh, well, who is he? And once they start falling in, we just create this whole scenario where they're a stranger, and if you didn't know it, you would think that they'd be hitting on me and I had somebody else at home, but they're the person that's at home waiting on me that I'm talking to. And so we'll just go into this whole scenario. Oh, he's tall, and I'll sit there and describe them and, the many ways that I can. And I was like, oh, he's just tall, dark skinned, handsome guy, blah, blah, blah. But, he kind of crazy. So I don't know. You might want to keep on going because he like to fight people and shoot and stuff like that. So, and they'll be up there, oh, I think I can handle him. He don't sound that bad, whatever. So stuff like that, talking in code. For me, that's in code, but there are other ways you can do it. So it's really, that's cool. That's one of the things I like. Smile very wide. So making sure that dental hygiene is something that you make sure that you and your sweetheart take care of, and smiling. As you can see, I have a $1 million smile. And I'm always told my smile is really, really warming and inviting. So I don't smile often. Big secret. I really don't, because I'm always thinking about something. And when I do smile, I think that when I'm walking around smiling, I look like the Joker from Batman. So I think that when I'm smiling like this or just holding a smile, I look weird. So I don't smile often. So, but smiling is very important. And, if I'm smiling, usually it's for a good reason. It's always a reaction to something. It's not just, oh, he's smiling. It's always a reaction for something or someone. So smiling, really important. Smile wide, smile big, smile bright. Show those pearly whites, y'all. Don't just smile with your lips closed. Show those pearly whites. Most people have pretty teeth. And if you don't have pretty teeth, there's a lot of stuff you can do to get pretty teeth. So smile. Sending in those text messages. Now, this is classic relationship 101. When you have a special someone, let them know that they're on your mind. So in the middle of the day, when you have that moment where they are on your mind, text them and say, hey, babe, I'm thinking about you, on my mind, or thinking about you, beautiful, or thinking about you, whatever. You're on my mind. You just ran across my mind. I hope your day's going well. Those check-in messages mean a lot to a person because, let's face it, we all have busy, busy days. Like, I have friends that come by all the time. And usually they're like, you're never home when I come by your house. Okay, well, and thank God my semester's over. Spring semester just ended. But during spring semester, if I wasn't at work, I was at school. And if I wasn't at school, I was at work. I didn't see my bed until 8 o'clock every night. Granted, my classes were over, I want to say at the latest at 4:30. So I have things that I have to do. We all have very busy days, and some of us have very airtight schedules. But there are periods in between where you're able to text or something like that and, do some type of response, even if it's a TTYL with the little heart emoji or something like that. That's something you can do. So, like that old cliche says, you make time for what's important. So make time. And, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of time. I'm a person, I really like to hear from my significant other or my little boo thing I'm talking to every single day. But that doesn't mean that we have to sit on the phone all day and talk. Because, like I just told y'all, I have an airtight schedule. I have a life, and I'm pretty sure he does too. And if he doesn't, he should. So just do something to make time to let that person know that they're on your mind. It's really, really important. Very important. And so, sleeping. Now, this is something all my friends know about me. I enjoy my sleep. I believe in a nap. Please don't interrupt my sleep. I'm telling y'all. Sleeping is very important to me. And we all see those memes about the little kid who don't like to take a nap. And it says something to the effects that, we're grateful for naps now. In our 20s, when we don't have time for a nap on a regular day, we're grateful for naps now. I enjoy my sleep. So for my significant other and you, I'm really the early bird. I'd be the early bird because I like to go to work or whatever it is I'm doing, be it work or school. I'm trying to get it done before, at the latest 4. Something has to be done before 4 o'clock so that I can go and enjoy the rest of my day or night or whatever. But I know I like to rise early. And so for me, I try and make as little noise as possible. And that's just out of courtesy for the person that I'm dating who would be asleep next to me. Granted, I don't have that person now. Well, they're not living with me. So I do have a special someone. But when, if we do decide to cohabitate, whenever I do get into a serious relationship, I would be certain that whatever it is that I need to do in the morning would either be done in the bathroom, behind a closed door, or outside of the room so that I don't interrupt their sleep because I don't like for my sleep to be interrupted by unnecessary noise. It's just common courtesy to me. So do what you can. And that's something that's very important, to say, hey, I respect your rest because I know that you have things to take care of just as well as I do. So something to that effect. Now, this one's really cute and it's a really cliche. Leaving handwritten or hand-drawn notes somewhere on the whiteboard in the kitchen or somewhere in the house. So, the lipstick on the mirror for the women. And, for some people, you have a little whiteboard or a chore board or something like that in your house. So writing, I love you, bae, or I love you, my wife, or my beautiful, or whatever your nickname would be for that person, writing that somewhere along the house so they just so happen to stumble upon it in their daily routine of leaving the house and they're coming back in or something like that. So that's really, really sweet, really classic way to, handwritten note, a joke or a card, cartoons, something like that, and leaving them in very in imaginary places. So, well, not imaginary, but creative places. So sticking it on the door or, in the car seat, like I was saying about the cards, but just try and be cute with it. If they get out the shower and they're going to go, grab a clean pair of socks and underwear or something like that, put it in the underwear drawer, somewhere they're going to go. Or maybe even like, I'm getting ideas now. Maybe even folding it up and putting it in their wallet because they have to have their wallet. And more than likely, people are going to use their money, whatever cash they may have on them, or their card to purchase something during the day. So sticking in the wallet. And that little note is something that they just stumble upon at some random point in their day. That's a really, really sweet, really, really cute. Oh, okay. So wintertime, for those of us who live way, way, way up in the areas where it snows. This is really sweet. This one says snug as a bug. And what the person means by this is when it's cold out, or maybe even when it's warm out, because some of us live where it gets really, really hot. So going out and cranking up the car in the morning so that it's warm and you don't have to sit there in the cold. So say, both of you get up around the same time and it's below 40. For me, that's cold. Some people, that's just like, oh, that's good weather. For me, that's, anywhere in the 40s is cold to me. 50 I can do. But it's somewhere in the 40s, it's cold, or for some people it's, it snowed the night before, something like that, and you all have to get up and go to work the next morning, so both of you are up around the same time. Well, grab his keys or grab her keys, and when you're going out to go get in your car, you go and you crank up your car, you let it run, get the ice and stuff off of the windshield so you can see, and then you go do it for bae. Crank up the car and get the ice and stuff off the windshield and everything like that. So as soon as bae get in the car, bae ready to go, you already done hit it. Y'all done did y'all little kiss or whatever it is that you do to tell each other that you love each other before you leave. And, wish each other a good, happy day. And you get in the car. And when they come out, their car is already warm and they can already see, so they don't have to fight with the little alcohol or whatever you may have in the spray bottle, or whatever way it is, scraping ice off with the ice pick or whatever it is, however you all do it. I don't have to worry about that, so I don't know. But whatever it is that routine is to combat the cold, you've already taken a step to eliminate that for them. So that's really, really sweet. Oh, don't throw in the towel. Instead, take the towel and hand the towel to you. Or better yet, wrap that person in the towel and then give them a kiss on the forehead, on the lips, or something like that. You might end up back in the shower. That's hot. Here, there, everywhere. So whenever the mood strikes, no matter where you are, whether you're in the grocery store shopping, or shopping mall, something like that, you just turn to that person and you tell them you love them. You just, if it just falls on you and say, babe, I love you so much, or I love you, baby. Actually, one of my very, very, very close friends, and we've known each other for about 2-3 years now. And her boyfriend, I hang out with them. I haven't hung out with them a lot lately because of school, but they are really like two of my really close friends. I love them a lot. And they do that. They compliment each other all the time. Like the other weekend we were hanging out, and he came out of the room and she was like, oh, baby, you look real nice tonight. And they're really candid and open about everything. So it was just like, oh my gosh, here they go. And I kind of look at them as like my brother and sister. So to me, I'm comfortable with it. And he was like, thank you, baby. And she said, oh, my baby looking all sexy and you're smelling good. And he was like, thanks, babe, I appreciate that. You look beautiful too. And he was like, oh, thank you, babe. I love you. And he's like, I love you too. It was just really cute, like the way that they do. And I swear, like we were together for about 5 hours maybe. And in that 5 hours, I probably heard them say I love you 2 times every 15 minutes. They do not mind telling each other they love each other. So I think that's really cute. And it's a healthy way to maintain a relationship. So they definitely believe in here, there, and everywhere. So shout out to y'all and all the lovers out there who ain't afraid to say I love you wherever you are. You're always on my mind. So short emails, it kind of goes back to that checking in thing, but it's one of those that it kind of ties in with the notes too. But it's different because it's an email, or maybe it's a Facebook message or something like that. It's not a tangible, something you can pick up like a card or a note, but somewhere along the way they find this email or this text message or this Facebook message, or Instagram or whatever. Maybe it's an Instagram post. There are different creative ways you can do this thing. And it just tells you they're always on your mind. Always. No matter what you're doing, where you are, they're always on your mind. My main squeeze. So this couple, wherever they are, especially if they're in public, if they can't talk, they squeeze each other's hands 3 times to say, I love you. So, maybe they're in church or, in some type of place where you have to be silent. I don't know what too many of those are. Even a movie theater, you can kind of whisper in a movie theater. But if you really necessarily have to be quiet, they hold each other's hand and they squeeze each other's hands 3 times. And so kind of like that first couple with the 1, 2, 3 kiss thing. It's really cute, really sweet. Bathing beauty. Running that hot bath. And you waiting for bae to come home in the bathtub. That's a hot one. I like that idea. But bathing beauty. So either running a bath for your significant other, so when they come home, Oh, babe, I'm glad to see you came home. You look so beautiful. Oh, you look like you had a long day. Let me go get you in the bath. I already got your bath drawn for you. Come on, just go ahead and get you in here. I'll wash it back for you. You can tell me all about your day while I rub your feet. That's beautiful. That just blows Bay's mind. Whoever Bay is, that will blow their mind because you've taken off probably 15, maybe 20 minutes of them just coming in and trying to get comfortable. And especially if it's unexpected, especially if you're the last person to get home. So that day you decide to change the routine so that you're the first person to get home so you can do that. That says a lot. So bathe in beauty. Make sure they gets that bath. Don't forget to scrub behind the ears, y'all. And wash the hair too. I like for people to wash my hair. My hair is it's a lot. It doesn't look like it's a lot of hair, but it's a lot of hair up here. So washing the hair too is really important. Fixing food. I'm somebody that loves to eat. So if you cook for me, baby, you especially if it's good food too. If you cook for me, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That's not the direct way to my heart, but you'll be almost there. But making food and making food together is something that's really important too. So, that's really, that cooking is that bonding time where, you get to talk to each other and get to know each other and you're kind of moving in sync in the kitchen, where you taking this pot off while they coming around putting this pot on and all that other stuff. Can you hand me this or da da da? Even perfecting each other's recipes because I know in my home we make grits where they're really thick, but my best friend in his home grits were made kind of runny and soupy, not watery, but they were a little runny. So there are some recipes that we have in common, others we don't, but our tastes are different. And so me and my best friend, when we cook, I'll say taste this, and he'll say okay, it needs a little bit more of this. Ooh, that's really good. Don't leave it how it is, and I'll do the same thing for him. So, you know, it's one of those things where cooking together is really, really, really important. So making a meal or making a meal together, it's one of those great things. And then the Earl of Sandwich. And so there are different sandwiches some people make. This one was a woman, she was talking about her pregnancies, and her husband would make her sandwiches every morning when she woke up, to a sandwich and a glass of milk when she was pregnant. She had a craving for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So just, and that one, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sandwich, but just one of those pleasantries or one of those things that your significant other enjoys. So maybe it is a sandwich. Maybe it's, a bowl of cereal. I'm a cereal person. I'll eat cereal all day, any day. It doesn't matter to me. So maybe it's a bowl of Lucky Charms. It could be a snickerdoodle for some people who like those. Or Vienna fingers, the little vanilla wafers, something like that. So just those little pleasantries, those things that your significant other enjoys. Make sure they're stocked in the house. Even if you don't set them out for them, just make sure they're stocked in the house. And if you see that they're running low, and it may be something that you don't even like, you may even be allergic to it, but making sure that they have that one thing, that comfort food or whatever it is that they want, is really important. That's noticing them and saying, hey, babe, I noticed, this was so I just went and got this for you. I know you're running out. Facts of life. So this person faxed letters to their significant other to be slipped under the door while they were in the hotel. So I know some of us travel a lot. I'm an avid traveler. And then there are times where, you be separated for business. And so fax them this note, or do something to where the hotel says, you call the staff and you say, hey, my husband or my wife is at your hotel, could you go to such and such a room, and let them know blah 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 blah, whatever. And of course they'll leave the note and all of that good stuff. So just letting them know, even when they're away from you, that you miss them and you love them. And so how magnificent. And so there's this couple in large crowds. Then when they're talking on the cell phone in a crowd of people, they say magnificently. And it means to them, which kind of goes back to talking in code, it means I love you magnificently. So that's really pretty. So find that word, stupendously, magnificently, gargantuan, something like that. One of that text word or code word that you can use to tell each other how much you love each other. Mine would be, I can't tell y'all mine. I can't tell you mine, but I have one. So, ready, set, go. before her husband leaves for work. He sets the table for breakfast. He lays out the bowl of cereal, a cup of orange juice, strawberries, a napkin, and a spoon. For a big, manly union guy, this is a really major step. So her husband makes sure that she has breakfast, or he lays out breakfast for the both of them before he leaves for work. So, just helping that person get through their morning routine as fast as possible. Kind of goes back to the car thing. You're in for a treat. She has to travel here. Well, this husband's wife has to travel out of work, and when she gets home, he gives her a small gift every day she has been gone. So if it's a week long or something like that, you go out and you buy a gift, something that you know that they like. So if you notice that they're running low on something or whatever. So buying that gift for that person, that's really sweet, finding something to give them every day that they've been gone. So if it's 7 days, 7 small little trinkets. So it may start off with flowers and their favorite chocolates, their favorite movie, date, something like that. So different ways to spend that. And then you're pretty great. This is the last one. And every night before bed, the husband and the wife tells each other something they're grateful for. So that's really sweet too. I think this is the best one of all. You're grateful for each other. You're grateful for whatever. And so before you all go to bed, which is a very I can't talk, y'all. A very crucial time in a relationship. Because, before you go to bed, let's just know that relaxing time. So you have to be comfortable in the space that you're with and with the person that you're with in that space. So before you go to bed, the last thing on your mind usually is that person. And the last thing on your mind is what you think about the most, what you may even dream about. So to know that person is grateful for you, grateful to be with you, to share time and space with you, whatever it is that they're grateful for in the relationship or as a whole, is something beautiful and positive to reflect on while you're sleeping. Because when you're sleeping, like I said, the last thing is what's on your brain, or even anything that's troubling you is on your brain, which is what causes us to dream. But that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day. Again, I'm a psychology student, so I know some of these things. But anyway, that was the last one. You're pretty great. So tell each other what you're grateful for, and make sure that they know that they're not being taken for granted. So anyway, that's all of my time, you beautiful, beautiful people out there. I hope you enjoy your night. It is a beautiful, wonderful Monday night. And I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Monday Nights with Dannie Stewart. This is going to be an ongoing thing. First episode, I'm excited for what the future has to go. I hope you all are too. And so let's continue to grow together, continue to promote the unity in the community. And I love you all. I hope you all have a great week. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Have a great day, a great, great, great night. And if today was a tough day, I hope something I said or something that you heard made the day a little bit better. And above all else, just be positive, be love, be light. Have a great night and a great rest of the week. I love you all.
Are you looking for urban, creative, intellectual, and socially forward LGBTQ media? The new National Youth Pride Services Network provides more than 1,000 live and on-demand hours of programming from and around the world on several platforms simultaneously, including YouTube, Periscope, radio, Apple TV, and Chromecast. With original programs from NYPS, the fastest-growing Black LGBTQ movement in the U.S., as well as from other amazing producers, you are sure to find something you like each and every day. For your free subscription, visit www.nypsnetwork.com today.